Hello friends, I'm Tiffany and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited because today I'm going to be talking a little bit about my 20s. Your 20s is such a transformational decade. So much happens in your 20s. When I think about the person I was when I first turned 20, I was just like this meek little shy college student compared to who I am now, about to turn 30 on December 15th. It's just crazy. I've learned a lot of lessons. I made a lot of memories. I also made a lot of mistakes. I made some new friends, got rid of some old friends, and I just became the person that I am today, the person that I'm so proud to be today. So I made some incredible memories in my 20s. Like, so much happened. I had so many different jobs. I worked as a hostess, a server, I worked front desk at a hotel, I worked at a daycare, I worked at a doggy daycare, I worked on a cruise ship, I was a camp counselor. I just did so many things. It's insane. And all of the jobs that I had in my 20s, I learned so much from all of them. And also, as I mentioned, worked on a cruise ship. That is insane. I don't know anyone in my actual real life besides the people that I worked with on the cruise ship, but I don't know anyone else that can say that they worked on a cruise ship. And it was just such an incredible experience, and it's something that I can talk about and be proud of. And even though it was just a crazy up and down roller coaster of emotions the whole time, it was such a cool experience, and it's something that I'm proud to say that I did. I also traveled a lot. I've been to 25 states almost. I've been to 24 and I'll have been to 25 states as of my birthday. And I've been to so many countries around the world. Of course, working on a cruise ship, I went to a lot of islands in the Caribbean. I also went to Paris, London, and Rome. And I went to and graduated from college, and now I'm working on a second degree. I've adopted 2 dogs of my own. I fell in love. There's just so many things that happened in my 20s, and it's so cool to reflect on this entire decade and then also be really excited about everything that's to come in my 30s. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that I learned in my 20s. So I'm going to be talking about 5 things that I learned in my 20s, and I actually have a full list of 20 things that I learned in my 20s, and that post is going to be on my blog, and I will link that post below for y'all. So the first lesson I learned in my 20s is to fall in love with yourself first. I learned a lot of hard lessons in love in my 20s, and sometimes it just really wasn't so great. I'm not ashamed of anyone that I dated in my 20s because I definitely learned a lot of lessons, some of them harder than others, and I definitely just took a lot away from every single relationship that I was in my 20s. One of my favorite quotes is from a book called The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and that quote is, "We accept the love we think we deserve." And so for so much of my 20s, the people that I dated, like, a lot of times people didn't understand why I was dating them. They thought that they weren't a good match for me, and it was true. And the reason that I did end up dating the people that I did is because at that point in my life, that's the love that I thought that I deserved. I dated somebody who did drugs, who sold drugs, and I did that because that's the love that I thought that I deserved at the time. He didn't give me attention, and I was not a priority for him, but that's the love that I thought I deserved, so I accepted that love into my life. I dated people who used me for my body, and I did that because that's what I thought I deserved at the time. I thought that that was the love that I was supposed to have in my life, and I learned that that's not love at all. I dated someone who literally put me in the worst mental state of my life, and I did that because that was the love that I thought I deserved. So much of my 20s was spent not loving myself. I wasn't satisfied with who I was. I wasn't satisfied with where I was going, with what I was doing. I just wasn't satisfied with me, and I wasn't in love with myself. And because of that, the love that I accepted into my life was toxic. It was the love that I thought I deserved. It was awful and it was hard, but the great thing about it is that whenever I found a true and real love, I was able to recognize that. And whenever I started falling in love with myself, whenever I discovered my passions, whenever I was loving where I was going and what I was doing, I was finally able to start loving who I was and who I was becoming. And I started believing in myself and believing in my self-confidence and my self-image. I just became a better version of me, and I fell in love with me. And it wasn't until I did that that I was able to find a true love in another person. So even though it's definitely a hard lesson to learn, fall in love with yourself first, because with that comes it's the best kind of love that you could possibly have. Not only will you love yourself more, you'll be able to love others more, and you'll be able to accept the love of others in such a bigger and better way. The second thing I learned in my 20s is to travel. Granted, this is something that I always did growing up. I am a daughter of someone in the military, and so I grew up all over the world, which was so cool. I got to meet so many different people from everywhere, and it was just a really neat experience. And so having that experience when I was younger, it really instilled in me the importance of going places you've never been before, and talking to people you've never talked before, and experiencing things you've never experienced before. Travel is such a humbling experience. You get to learn so much about different cultures and how they differ from your own, and you also get to learn the history of those people in the places that you get to visit. And depending on where you travel, you really learn to appreciate the things that you have and appreciate the people that you have in your life. Traveling is such an amazing experience for so many reasons, and I 100% recommend traveling as much as you can, as far as you can, in your 20s. I'm so lucky because I was able to experience so many different cultures in so many different ways growing up, but especially in my 20s. And even if you can't travel worldwide, you can still go on a road trip. You can go one town over and learn about those people and those cultures and that history. There are so many opportunities to learn about different people, and you should take every opportunity to do that. And even if you financially don't have the means to travel that much, you can still learn about people online. You can still read books. You can still cook different recipes from different cultures. You can celebrate different celebrations from different countries. There are so many different ways to immerse yourself in different cultures. And I definitely encourage you to do it during your 20s, because there's a lot more freedom in your 20s. The older you get, the more responsibilities you have, and you'll get married, you'll have kids, and there's just going to be so many things and so many excuses that can hold you back from doing those things. So do it while you have no strings attached. Solo travel with your friends, travel with a travel group, travel with your family, with your significant other. Whatever way you do it, just travel. Get out there, explore, and learn about the world. The third thing I learned in my 20s is that your journey is going to look different from everybody else's. I have been so guilty of catching myself in the comparison game, whether that's with people in my life or people online. It's just such a toxic practice. Whenever I was graduating from college, all of my friends had jobs that they were really excited about, really proud of, and ones that related to their degree. And I ended up, whenever I graduated from college, I went and worked at a summer camp, and then I went and worked at another job that I wasn't excited about at all. I knew that it was a temporary job, and I knew it was something that I wasn't passionate about, but I took it because it was the only job offer I had at the time. And I found myself comparing myself to all of my other friends who seemed to have their life together at 22 years old. But the fact of the matter is, I wasn't supposed to get my dream job at 22. There are so many experiences I had from age 22 to now that wouldn't have happened if I had gotten my dream job. The people I met, the places I went, the memories I made, like all of those wouldn't have happened at all if I had gotten my dream job at 22, because I wouldn't have been putting myself out there. I wouldn't have quit that job and moved back home so that I could work at a front desk. And if I didn't work at that front desk, I wouldn't have gotten promoted to sales coordinator, and I wouldn't have found my passion for marketing. I also wouldn't have started my blog at all, and I wouldn't have ended up back at home in Shreveport, Bossier, where I met all of these incredible friends, which led me to meeting Kyle. There are so many reasons why I didn't end up with my life looking the way that I wanted to at age 22. And that's because my journey was different from those of my friends. And there's so many times that I got down on myself because I felt like I was a failure. I felt like I was working an hourly job with something that I wasn't passionate about, while all of my friends were off accomplishing things. And little did I know that they were having their own struggles. It's just so important to just appreciate the experiences that you have and just know that even if your point A to point B looks like this instead of this, it's okay. Your journey isn't gonna look like everybody else's. And the reason your journey looks the way it does is because you're in those places that you need to be when you need to be there. You are meeting people that you're supposed to meet. You are learning a lesson that you were supposed to learn. You are making a mistake that you were supposed to make. You are accomplishing something that you were supposed to accomplish. So don't base your journey off of somebody else's journey. Because of everything that happened, I am getting a second degree and I am going to pursue my passion for teaching. And it's so exciting because even though I am going to start my career a lot later than some of my friends, I am doing something that I love, and I also got to have all of these awesome experiences in between. So please be careful about comparing yourself to others because it's pointless. Your life is gonna look the way it's supposed to look, and their life is gonna look the way it's supposed to look. So celebrate each other and be excited for each other. Do not bring each other down. Just be there for one another and just be excited about your own journey. The fourth thing I learned is to practice gratitude. This is something that can be especially hard for me because I feel like I'm always go, go, go. I am always just trying to get to the next thing. Whenever I travel to one place, I'm like, okay, I did that, now where's the next place? Instead of reflecting back on all of the really awesome and cool things that I've already done and being excited about those things and also reflecting on how awesome they are and just being grateful that I was able to have those experiences and opportunities. It is so important to practice gratitude because that's something that you're gonna need to do for the rest of your life. Yes, it's awesome to make lists and check things off and to have experiences to look forward to and things that you're excited about in the future, but it's also important to reflect back on all of the awesome things that you've done already and all of the awesome things that you've experienced and all the people that you've met and all the places that you've been. It's so important to practice gratitude and be so appreciative for those things that you've already done. And also in the present, don't forget to practice gratitude for the things that you're able to do and for the things that you have and for the people in your life. And the fifth thing I learned in my 20s is to just have fun. Let go and just be yourself. Allow yourself to grow, make mistakes. I am so guilty of just always being on the go and just always doing things that are productive and not just making time for things that are fun and things that I love. So try and make time to balance those things out. Yes, it's important to do your schoolwork, to do your job, to do your chores, and to just be an adult. But it's also important to make time for things that bring you joy and for things that are fun, like traveling or just going for a walk or reading a book or journaling or writing or hanging out with friends. Just prioritize yourself and prioritize your happiness and just have fun in your 20s. Whatever fun looks like for you, do it. Your 20s are such a transitional period and there's gonna be a lot of crappy things that happen to you. But in the midst of all of that, you need to make the most of all of those situations. You need to learn from your mistakes. You need to learn the hard lessons. And from that, become a bigger and better person, and then just have fun. Otherwise, you are going to stretch yourself too thin, you're going to stress out, and you're not going to enjoy your life. So I hope y'all enjoyed those 5 things that I learned in my 20s. If you want the full list of 20 things I learned in my 20s, be sure to click the link below. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button to get those notifications. And I will see you tomorrow for another day of Vlogmas. Bye!